37.6 million ounces of silver vanished from Comex vaults in just 47 days. That's the largest drain we've seen since 1980. At the same time, we got breaking news on February 14, 2025. 4 major South Korean banks suddenly stopped selling physical silver indefinitely. This isn't a holiday. It's because they cannot source the physical metal. What should trigger panic and a crisis alert is this. Spot silver is now trading above the futures contracts. That's called backwardation in market speak. It means people are willing to pay an extra premium today to secure the metal immediately, rather than trusting a paper promise of future delivery. Why would major banks halt sales? Why is physical metal commanding a premium? Because silver is sending us the loudest possible warning. This isn't merely a bull run. This is the final squeeze before a systemic failure triggered by a structural deficit. The pattern introduction. We are witnessing a 4-stage pattern that has played out across thousands of years of human history, and it has never failed. You need to see this pattern clearly, because it determines who captures generational wealth and who faces a disaster. Stage 1. Establishment and setup. The commodity acts as money, and the system is trusted. For silver, this was when it was used in every American coin until 1964. Stage 2. Expansion and debasement. Once the money is separated from the physical metal, think Nixon killing the gold standard in 1971, Wall Street starts creating paper promises. 1 physical ounce is often claimed by hundreds of paper contracts. This artificially suppresses the price. Stage 3. The squeeze and break. Demand surges, and people begin demanding physical delivery. The vaults drain rapidly. We are here right now. Stage 4. Inevitable outcome, eruption. The paper market collapses. Trading halts, delivery failures cascade, and the price detonates. To drive this pattern home, look at the 1980 Hunt Brothers crisis. Nelson Bunker Hunt saw the collapse of the dollar and the threat of inflation. They started stacking silver in 1979. Silver soared 724% in 12 months, hitting $49.45. The Hunts were ultimately destroyed, not because their fundamentals were wrong, but because they used massive leverage and paper futures. When Comex enacted Silver Rule 7 and raised margins drastically, they were wiped out. The crucial lesson: you cannot change the rules on something you actually own. Those who held physical metal made massive returns despite the chaos. Those holding paper promises were crushed. We are seeing this history repeat, but this time, the driver is far more structural and irreversible. Current crisis data analysis, Stage 3 deep dive. The 2025 silver crisis is fundamentally different from historical bubbles driven by speculation or manipulation. This is driven by mathematical reality. Demand is outstripping supply. We are looking at the 5th consecutive year of a global silver deficit, with the cumulative shortage from 2021 to 2025 estimated around 820 million ounces. This shortage is structural because it's driven by irreplaceable industrial demand. 1. The solar revolution. Silver consumption in solar alone hit 200 million ounces in 2025. Studies show that the solar industry alone could deplete 85% to 98% of global silver reserves by 2050. Once that silver is in a panel, it is effectively gone for 25 to 30 years. 2. EVs and AI. Each electric vehicle uses 2 to 3 times more silver than a gas car. The explosion of 5G infrastructure, AI data centers, and new chip fabrication plants all have rigid demand for silver. The evidence that we are deep into the squeeze phase, Stage 3, is overwhelming. Vault drain, Comex registered inventory has dropped dramatically. 43 million ounces is all that's left for delivery. That's less than 3 weeks of global consumption. Decoupling of paper and physical. The emergence of backwardation and the fact that the Chinese spot price trades at a premium of approximately $250 over New York screams physical desperation. This typically means the paper game is breaking. Government action. South Korean banks suspending sales. China raising risk classifications, effectively restricting citizens from buying physical precious metals. The U.S. government designated silver as a critical mineral essential to national security. The complexity of this market dynamic can be simplified using the analogy of the moth musical chairs game. The music has stopped, and the paper holders are realizing there aren't enough chairs, physical silver, for everyone to sit down. Risk warnings and long-term prediction. Risk and prediction. This isn't financial advice. This is education and analysis. Even the strongest fundamental rallies are subject to volatility. You must heed 3 major risks. 1. Volatility and leverage. Silver is up 100% in 1 year. Even if the long-term trajectory is higher, a 15% to 20% correction from 60 could easily take us back to 4018. Do not use leverage. The $1.7 billion loss of the Hunt brothers was purely due to borrowing heavily. And 2, regulatory intervention. If the price continues its explosive surge, regulators will likely change the rules. They may impose higher margins, force liquidation, or suspend delivery, just as they did in 1980. 3. Recession risk. Industrial demand accounts for 60% of consumption. If the global economy faces a deep recession, demand could crater faster than supply can adjust, temporarily delaying the shortage story. The inevitable outcome, stage 4. If this pattern completes, the result is non-negotiable. When silver hit its 1980 peak of 49.45, that adjusts for inflation to approximately Y, 178 in today's money. We are currently at $58, nowhere near the inflation-adjusted high. The base case scenario sees silver hitting $90 to 100 per ounce by mid-2026. But if the paper market defaults, if governments impose export bans, and if industrial panic buying occurs, some projections target $120 to $170. Wealth does not vanish, it only transfers. It transfers from those holding the dollar and paper contracts to those holding real assets. Conclusion, call to action, and preview. Conclusion and CTA. The essential understanding is this. The 2025 surge is driven by the laws of physics and mathematics, not speculation. When banks and governments start hoarding and banning the sale of physical silver, it tells you one thing. The paper control is failing. You must differentiate. Are you owning an asset or owning a promise? When the systemic collapse comes, you cannot maintain true ownership over something you cannot touch or control. The window is closing. Don't wait until physical premiums are so high and the metal is so scarce that you can buy it at any price. If you see this pattern, if you believe that history is set to repeat, then hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications. In the next video, I will show you how deep this goes. We will dissect the silver market's manipulation history and how it links directly to the currency crisis and the derivatives time bomb. The clock is ticking. Let's learn how to navigate this coming wealth transfer.